Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see that you're here. My name is Madeline Robinson, and I am the co-chair of the Knox Green Team, as well as the chair of Sustainable Brandon. And I want to welcome you, first of all. I've got to take my glasses off. I can't read with them on. And so on behalf of the Green Team and Sustainable Brandon, as well as the City of Brandon and Efficiency Manitoba, who so kindly are supporting the presentation tonight. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. There is a pitcher of water back in the corner. So if anybody needs a drink of water or something during the, just feel free to go on up and get yourself a drink of water. If you need the bathroom, there are 3 possibilities. You can go through the back doors if you turn to the right, and then go through those double doors, and then through the next door down, then there's a bathroom there. As well, if you go to the left and go through the double doors, you go downstairs, there are bathrooms there, or you can go up the stairs and there's a bathroom at the top of the stairs there next to the kitchen. If you didn't get a chance to sign in and would like to be on the Green Team email list or the Sustainable Brandon email list, there is a paperback at the table back there, as well as lots of brochures from Efficiency Manitoba if you need more information after Ingrid gives us all the information that she has. So feel free to just visit that table after. After the presentation, we are going to have a short Sustainable Brandon meeting. I'm hoping it'll be like 15 or 20 minutes. Everybody's welcome, but if you don't want to stay for the meeting, feel free to just go on out or chat with other people here as you're leaving. So, exploring Efficiency Manitoba rebates for your home is a timely and important opportunity for you to get information and ask questions of Ingrid Gotten. Ingrid is Brandon's community energy efficiency advocate, as well as the environmental initiatives programmer for the City of Brandon. She spent many years working with Parks Canada, with the National Office and Intergovernmental Collaboration Partnering and Engagement with the Manitoba Field Unit, and working to deliver visitor experience at Riding Mountain National Park. She's currently closing in on a master's degree in sustainable development, and we expect to throw her a party in December when she hands in her final work. She's also a homeowner here in Brandon and is very interested in how to create a very efficient home herself. We're very excited to have Ingrid here to talk to those of us who are either curious or serious about making our homes more energy efficient. Please help me give a warm welcome to Ingrid Gotten.
Thank you so much, Madeline. Can we also just give a round of applause to Madeline Robinson right now? Because, oh my goodness, did you hear all the things she's doing with every single team here? We appreciate you, Madeline. So yes, thank you so much for having me here. My name's Ingrid Gotten. I use she, her pronouns, and I live and work on Treaty 2 territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe, unceded territory of the Dakota, and Métis territory. And I would like to acknowledge that we are on this land. This history of the land is so important, and we still have a lot of work to do with Indigenous sovereignty and issues of the kind. So I hope that some of the work that I have to contribute will be making a little bit of a difference. And I feel like that kind of ties into ideas of efficiency and ideas of kind of respecting the land and environmentalism, which is, I know, a big goal of Sustainable Brandon. And I'm sure as well as the Knox Green Team, I'm not as familiar. But I would love to know kind of what people are looking for from a presentation like this. Just a little quick, if someone wants to throw their hand up, why is efficiency important to you? Yeah, in the back? To save money. Absolutely, that's right. Like by increasing energy efficiency, you're using less energy. Energy costs money, so it just makes sense that you are reducing your costs. Any other big reasons people are interested in efficiency? Yes, Madeline? Saving the world. I love that very lofty goal. But I think it is true that, we do have systemic work to change. And so our smaller systems within our homes are things that are making a difference. And things like energy efficiency, like Efficiency Manitoba, for example, they are setting standards. And one thing that isn't really mentioned in this presentation, but I think is really interesting and important, is that some of these efficiency goals are part of what is going to become part of the building code in 2030. And right now, what Efficiency Manitoba is doing is kind of bridging that gap and providing incentives to kind of get people to understand what these differences are in energy efficient homes, and kind of starting to give rebates and incentives for people to do that work, but eventually it will become code. So it's kind of that nice step into understanding what the differences will be. Starting off on a lofty note, but who here is a homeowner? Okay, great. We will be talking a lot about different rebates that will apply to your home. Anybody a business owner? Okay, no one here, that's all right. If you do have any friends or anyone that you know that is a small business owner in particular, there are a lot of rebates available for small businesses. Really a lot of kind of assessment is free, and then free upgrades. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but is anyone a renter? Okay, yeah, and some renters. We will be kind of touching on that as we go. While you won't necessarily get a rebate for your apartment, you can encourage whoever your landlord is to get some really great rebates from Efficiency Manitoba, and then your energy bills will go down. So it kind of gives you that little incentive to maybe be an advocate and share some promotional material, some pamphlets back there with your landlords, and just kind of let them know that this is available. And so it would lower their bills and yours. Anywho, we are going to get into it. So, what is Efficiency Manitoba? So, it is a Crown corporation, and Efficiency Manitoba's big goals are the long-term energy savings by offering cost-effective programs and services to Manitobans. So, yeah, it is the provincial level. It used to be more run by Hydro, but that has kind of switched over to now be its own thing, Efficiency Manitoba. I don't know if anyone has done the Power Smart Hydro programs in the past, but that is what this is morphed into. So sometimes people will kind of not know the difference between that, but now you do. So yeah, the focus is on saving energy. And, pardon? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that was the previous program, and now it's just totally been redone under Efficiency Manitoba. And so they've changed it a little bit. They've added some programs and taken some away. But yes, they do have a connection to the environment, but that is actually not specifically part of their mandate, and that's one thing I've found very interesting. Reducing energy is the mandate, but when things, for example, they don't give rebates for electric vehicles because that is actually seen as being more energy intensive, or at least more electricity. And so they don't have rebates as of right now for that because, again, the focus is on reducing energy. So the strategic goals: achieving excellence in our programs and services, building a solid foundation for a successful organization, building and sustaining meaningful partnerships with a customer focus. That does come into play with my position because I'm a community energy advocate, and the city of Brandon partially pays for my position as well as Efficiency Manitoba, so it's kind of like a nice partnership there that they're offering to municipalities all throughout Manitoba. And then transforming attitudes toward energy efficiency. So lots of people just don't really know kind of what they could do to reduce their energy consumption and don't really understand the use of it. So we'll get into that. Okay, next slide, please. Are we the next slide? Oh, there we go. So yes, the legislative mandate is to develop and support energy efficiency initiatives that will reduce provincial consumption of electricity by 1.5% and natural gas by 0.75% annually. So yes, there is a mandate to reduce electricity, but also natural gas. So that is where you might see something like a heat pump coming in. And we'll talk more about that as well. So the mandate is to achieve aggressive savings targets, deliver cost-effective efficiency programs and services, create programs for as many Manitobans as possible to participate. This is an important piece if you do happen to be working kind of more in depth with an energy saving program, because they are willing to kind of create new programs and work kind of with a bunch of different parameters. So if you have a specific project that you're like, I want to convert my garage and I want to dig something in my yard and I want to do this other thing, and I think this digging something in my yard will save me energy and I think I can prove that, they will actually be open, receptive to hearing your ideas of what could save energy. So that's interesting to know. And then promote involvement of the private sector. So just acknowledging that the energy efficiency is happening in the private sector, in people's homes, and so just making those connections is important. All right, next slide. So I'm going to talk about residential programs first, so those would be for homeowners. All right, next. So yes, I guess this is for everyone because it is an instant rebate. Currently, this is happening, and through the month of November, is that certain products have an automatic rebate on them, and this is funded by Efficiency Manitoba. Next slide, please. So we have, yes, LED lighting, fixtures that are Energy Star certified, lighting controls, smart thermostats. I don't know if anybody is interested in those or knows very much about them, but they work amazingly. Does anybody have a smart thermostat? Yes? One person? That's good. I have one as well, and man, they're so cool because you get the app and you can program your heating from anywhere you are, but they're usually a couple $100s, and they really make a difference because they automatically change the heating, and you can set it to really be whatever you want during the day, during the evening. So getting a $50 off a smart thermostat is actually covering quite a bit of it. Yeah, weather stripping, window and door insulating film kits, if anybody has to get one of those for the winter. They're a bit cheaper right now, so you can look at that. And then, yeah, plug timers, low flow shower heads, get a little bit of a discount on those. So, yeah, part of the thing that Efficiency Manitoba is doing is kind of acknowledging consumers and what they need to be more energy efficient. All right, next. So yes, the home installation rebate. Did everyone get a few handouts? This is a great question. So yes, if you are interested in this smart thermostat, when I got mine installed by heating, like HVAC technicians, and they would be hooking it up to your existing heating system. So yes, it would have to be installed by a professional. So yes, the home installation rebate. This is great to start your energy kind of transformation because the envelope of your building is really where you want to be starting before a lot of other technology and things like that. Is everybody aware what a building envelope is? Anybody have an idea? Absolutely, yeah, like the envelope, the shell, the structure. So it would be like your walls, your windows, your doors, things that are keeping your whole house intact. It's not the inside, it's the outside. But so yeah, making sure that you're first addressing your building envelope and making sure that the walls are well insulated, making sure that the doors and that the windows are not leaking. These things are actually what make the biggest difference for energy efficiency within your home. It might seem like getting solar panels is really cool, and it is. But starting with the boring stuff like insulation is the thing that will actually save you the most money and be the thing that is the most environmentally impactful as well. All right, next, please. The most common areas that need insulation are attics, foundation walls, like in the basement or a crawl space, wall cavities around the perimeter of your home, and exterior walls. You do have to choose a registered contractor to do this work. And it's important to note, sometimes these things seem like they're too good to be true, and sometimes they are. Because, for example, your insulation is paid for within this program, but the work isn't. So just to be aware that you can get quite a large rebate, especially depending on your income. And we have some specific programs that are income-based, which we'll talk about later. But you could get up to 100% of your insulation paid for by Efficiency Manitoba, which is pretty cool. But if you make a bit more money, you might not have as much covered, and then you would also have to pay for the cost of the work. But what I really try to remind people is that it will cost you money now, but it will save you money for years to come in using less energy. So it's really just what you want to put your money toward. And if you're wanting to do a lot of these programs, there's different funding available. And so Efficiency Manitoba has, well, it's a partnership with Hydro of loans that are like incredibly low interest, and then they'll actually just take it off your hydro bill each month. So there's also options if you don't have all the money up front, but you want to save for the long term. So yes, home insulation, steps to participate. I mean, you're going to be looking to see that your home is eligible first. So you would contact a contractor. They would come and give an assessment. I have spent quite a bit of time trying to find the right contractor who is going to do an estimate for free. And this is very important to me that that's understood up front. I have made that mistake before and gotten a bill for an estimate and then not gone on to work with them. So, just kind of being aware that you're looking for contractors and they're going to be giving you a quote. It doesn't mean you're going to be going forward with the work, but then making sure that that is a free estimate. But yes, so this home insulation program starts with that. And then you would get, the contractor is the one, in this case, that actually submits. So that also happens a lot with Efficiency Manitoba programs, is that you are getting the contractor to do the work, and they're pretty much the middleman for doing all the paperwork with Efficiency Manitoba. So it does make it pretty easy as for us non-experts. All right, next, please. So you're just seeing some details here about what insulation and what area, kind of the improvements that need to be made. And again, this will be probably more helpful if you're working and speaking with a contractor. There are a lot of details to these programs, and I definitely don't know all the answers. So I think that within these programs, there are usually specialists that just work with one thing. So there's quite a few people that just work with insulation. There's a group of people that just do heat pumps, air source heat pumps, So there's a lot of experts, and a big part of my job is that if you do have any questions or would like to get in contact with someone, I'm kind of like a connector. So that's a big part of my job, is just like somebody has a question about something, I go out and ask it to the right person, or connect you directly if you really want to be moving forward with a project. It makes it a little easier. But yes, so there are different kind of, the R value is kind of the number that's associated with a certain level of insulation. So for example, R30 or less for your attic, that means that it would be R30 is a level of insulation that is less than the standard now. And so anything there or less, we want to upgrade and make sure that you're getting well insulated. And so starting from one of those levels, you would have to make sure that you're at least at an R50. And the way that this rebate works is that the bigger a difference you have between where you started and where you ended, the more money you get back. So a few of the programs work like that. So you have the added incentive. If you're going to spend a bit more money and get better insulation, you will actually get a bit more of a rebate. So yes, that is the insulation in a nutshell. I'm just going to open up the floor to any questions. A question back there? Very good question, yeah. For homeowners that are low income, there is actually free insulation. So the short answer is yes. Any other questions about this? Yes? Not for this program. But for some of the other programs, yes. And we'll get into that. All right, next. So yes, the appliance recycling program, has anyone heard of this? Has anyone taken advantage of it? Tried? Tell me more. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they won't pick up a mini fridge. They're like, nah, you can carry that yourself. No, they do have a certain limit, that's for sure. But if you do have a large enough piece of equipment, they will pick it up and give you a $30 rebate. So yeah, that's just kind of one of the options. I would say if you have a fridge or a freezer in the back of your house that you're thinking, I would like to get rid of it, I would recommend to do it sooner rather than later, because this program might not continue on forever. Just saying. Not saying anything for sure. Yes? It's true. As long as the fridge is still working and it's basically in place, you'll get the rebate. That's right. But if it's dead and you have to take it to the landfill, they're going to charge you $25. Absolutely. So you're actually saving $55 by doing it. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, the landfill, the only thing is, I wonder if it would be considered an electronic. It certainly has electronic components because e-waste now is free to drop off. It won't let you do it. Even hazardous waste, I feel like it would fall under, which is also free to drop off there. But I'm sure you seem like you have experience in this, so. So I'll trust your word on it. But yeah, so just as an aside, if you do have any hazardous waste or any e-waste, so any old electronics, you can drop them off at the landfill and they'll take that for free, and they do recycle them. So just to... As far as I know, they just have limited capacity, so it's kind of a matter of time. So I think that's one of the reasons why they are considering not extending the program for much longer, because the amount of gasoline and different things that people are taking to drive out to, you know, different places across Manitoba and then come back is like not efficient. So they are kind of keeping this in mind when they're assessing the future of the program. But as far as I know, it's open, but it might... Questions? Okay. So windows and doors rebates. Anyone ever gotten one of these? I have not. I was going to get a rebate for my door, but I realized that here in Manitoba, in Brandon, Manitoba, that to buy a door that's triple pane window was really hard to find and would be very expensive. So for me, at the end of the day, to get just like a new door that was Energy Star, but not triple paned, was kind of the cost benefit analysis I had to do. They do give $100 off windows and doors. So the doors I have found are a little bit harder to find here in Brandon. They didn't have any for any places that I looked, although maybe some specialty places, I didn't look everywhere, do have them. But for windows, it's a lot more accessible. So if it's a window or a door, if they have, a window or a door, if the door has a window, it does have to be triple pane glass. And this is the highest level of energy efficiency, which is great. It is going to save you money in your energy bill. But right now, the windows are a lot more accessible, at least in our local context. So you can way more easily find them, and they're not as expensive. And $100 per window, because they are at a lower cost point, is something. Is anyone familiar with the Canada Greener Homes initiative? Yeah. So there has been a federal initiative as well, which is all about energy efficiency. And they just previously, they had a grant available for people that did an energy audit on their home. Does everyone know what an energy audit is? You did one? How was it? Yep. Right. Yes, right. So yeah, with the Greener Homes program, it was similar programs. If you want to get solar panels installed, for example, like you're saying, then you have to get an energy audit done first, and it will assess a lot of different things, like how your building envelope, your air sealing, so how much air is leaking out of your house, your energy system, so your furnace or whatever you might use. And yeah, so a lot of the programs with Canada Greener Homes, you start with the energy audit. And right now, that program just ended in February. So some people still were able to use that grant. Were you able to install solar panels eventually? Yes. After. Right.
If you have relatively new windows, maybe it's not the way to go. To your comment about building envelope, that was where they suggested, you could make some differences with sealing and those kind of things. They didn't absolutely tell you should do anyone to everything first,
Right.
which I thought, if they're about efficiency, maybe that would have been do the audit and then make a recommendation that you should do 1, 2, and 3 in this order. But we went ahead with this one.
So is everybody able to hear that? So basically, yeah, the energy audit was able to kind of cover a lot of different things, and they do make recommendations about things that would make the biggest difference in terms of energy in your space. And then you can kind of decide whether you'd want to go ahead with those things. And one thing this program is no longer, so it's not as relevant. But they have said that they are going to reinstate it, but only for low to mid income. So that might be some people here, and then you would have access to that funding. There's a maximum of $5,000 rebate. But all that to say is that there has been the availability of getting $125 back for windows from there and $100 back from Efficiency Manitoba, which together was a good rebate. But Efficiency Manitoba is aware of the fact that that funding no longer exists, and so they're thinking about making some changes to their programs to offer a bit more incentive for things like that. The same can be said of the energy audit. So that was funded by Canada Greener Homes. So Efficiency Manitoba did not do any funding to get an energy audit done. It was about $800, $700 to $800 all told, I think, for the pre and post evaluation. And so from what I hear, Efficiency Manitoba is considering providing some money to be able to do that audit through them. So just to keep in mind that those options might be coming up in the future. Yeah, question in the back? It's a really good question. So with Efficiency Manitoba, they have a list of contractors that are approved by them. It's important that with any contractor that you're using for any part of this work, that they are on the approved list for Efficiency Manitoba. Most places are that are kind of a reputable licensed business. So that's not usually a huge concern, but with the energy audit, yeah, there are companies that are approved by them that you can get a list for. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 So yeah, the question is, if you've had the audit done by Greener Homes, can you use it for Efficiency Manitoba? I believe the answer is yes. I haven't heard that there's an expiry date for those audits, because when you have done work and you've done the post-evaluation, it also shows the energy work that has been done. So they should be able to have a pretty good idea. And from my experience working with Efficiency Manitoba, they're pretty lenient when it comes to kind of trying different things and accepting kind of a few different options for people. Was there another question or thought? Ooh, nice. We have a microphone. Okay, yeah, so the question is, if you're looking at doing some work and the only contractor in your area does not want to do the paperwork. Is there anything you're thinking of in particular?
It was the heat pump.
Mm.
They said that they wouldn't do it because it's just way too much work.
Are you thinking of in Brandon here, or?
Outside of Brandon.
Outside of Brandon, yeah. I know that some of these programs are just less accessible in places where there's limited options for contractors, and it's really too bad. I do think that people in larger centers would be open to doing work, you know, in other places, but I bet it would be an increased cost, at least for the travel expense. But my example, for myself, I'll share a bit later about I did get an air source heat pump put in myself into my house over the summer. And it was a very quick process. It was a consultation and then it was the installation. And it only took a couple hours for the installation. And maybe it would be different in different.
He said the work is not the problem.
Yeah.
It's the paperwork would take him 3 times the amount of time it does to do the work.
Yeah.
Because of the process for the paperwork is just ridiculous. So could I do the paperwork?
When it comes to heat pumps, no. It has to be the contractor. It all goes through the contractor. I think that most contractors just value their time appropriately. You know, if they have to spend 5 hours in administration work, they tack that onto the price tag, and I think that's a pretty normal practice, right? So, I mean, you could consider having that conversation with them, but if there is someone that's coming in from Brandon, for example, because it's only that one day of transport, it's not like they're coming back and forth, I don't think it would add too much to their cost to do that, to do the travel time either. So that's something you could consider. Yeah, I know it's always tricky, and there's always the issue of not knowing if the contractor is going to be doing the thing that they say that they're doing, if they're comparable to other places. When you're doing these kinds of programs, Efficiency Manitoba always recommends that you get a couple quotes to make sure that you're kind of finding a middle ground. But it can be tough because sometimes people want to charge you for their quotes or charge you for their estimates. So I understand the issues for sure, and I think my approach in the last little while, which is not typical of me, is to try to just be a little bit patient and to kind of not rush it, just look at different options, speak with different people, and just kind of let it unfold. Again, not my typical style. I like to do things right away, but in exploring your options, I think you'll find that there's quite a few places that might be flexible to doing work out of town. But we can talk more about it too, and I could maybe give you some recommendations or, yeah. Yeah.
Like heat pumps, which I do have a heat pump, and I've had one for like 11 or 12 years now.
Neat.
But, and I got it when there was no rebates on it.
Love it.
But
commitment.
if the person, the installer, it wants to sell it, as far as I'm concerned, if they're a good installer, they would, a genuine company, they wouldn't be worried about the paperwork. That would become an automatic part of the price of putting it in.
Exactly. Yeah, most companies just have it as the administration work as part of the fee, but I know that some smaller and private contractors don't have administration. They are the administration. They do everything themselves, especially in a small town setting. You're your own everything. So I get that can feel like a lot, especially if you have a lot of other work to do. So yeah, I agree though. For heat pumps, I think mostly that administration, but once you do it a couple times, then it becomes very quick. So I don't know if you can try to convince this person or this company of anything, but yeah, once you do it a few times, you learn how to get that paperwork done. It's really not that hard. When I had my heat pump done, they had the paperwork done in a couple hours and submitted, so yeah. But maybe it isn't this person's strong suit, so always compassion for people that are doing this too. Question in the back?
Would our heat pumps, do heat pumps, what's the word I'm looking for, replace heaters?
So we are going to get to more info on heat pumps, and I'll answer your question then. So let's just move forward to the next slide and get to air source heat pumps. So yes, there's two types of heat pumps. One is air source, which converts the heat in the air to heat inside your home, and does the reverse in the summer, which will make your home cool, which is really neat. I have air conditioning now. I don't think my 110-year-old house ever had air conditioning before, so that's pretty cool. So the two-in-one aspect is really neat, but in Manitoba, you have to have another heat source. Simply because I got a cold air heat pump, so it's a cold climate heat pump, so it goes to minus 15, minus 20, but in Manitoba, that's not cold, that's warm. And so you always do have to have another heat source, whether it's electric, whether it's a furnace, whatever the case may be. So yes, if you have electric heating in your house, it can reduce the cost up to 30%, which does make quite a difference. But with natural gas, because it is so cheap in Manitoba, it doesn't create a lot of difference in cost. What you're doing is more saving fossil fuels from the natural gas and using the hydro, renewable resource. However, Efficiency Manitoba does kind of have that awareness that fossil fuels all will be going up, including natural gas. It's at a kind of artificial low price because of the subsidies for natural gas, and that will not stay like that forever. So investing in technology that uses electricity is a little bit more of a long-term thinking. Yes, so approvals are required before starting any work. So getting that contractor involved, getting a quote, and then when you decide to move forward, them submitting the paperwork and doing that work and submitting, it makes it pretty easy as the homeowner. You don't have to do too much except pay. And that is one thing that I've found a bit strange with this work too, is that you're often doing a lot of the payment upfront and then you get a subsidy later. Well, it doesn't work as well for low income, so we're going to just talk a bit more about the options there. But yes, must use a register, efficiency Manitoba supplier, we talked about that. Any other questions about air source heat pumps? I mean, does everyone know what they are? Have an idea? Well, I kind of mentioned they convert the heat and the air to heat inside your home with electricity. So they are using electricity. But yes, kind of a renewable resource there that they can use. And you do have to have another kind of heat source for when it gets colder. You can kind of set where you want that to change from the heat pump to your other furnace or electric. They're pretty cool. Next slide, please. Let's just play this little video.
Hey Anna, do you have a minute? I have a question.
Yeah,
How do air source heat pumps work?
air source heat pumps have an outdoor unit and an indoor unit. A compressor circulates refrigerant between the two units and absorbs and releases heat from the air. It's a similar process as your refrigerator. In winter, heat is pulled from the outdoor air to warm your home, and in summer, it works like a typical air conditioning unit by removing heat from inside your home and rejecting it to the outdoors.
Hey Jason,
Hey,
do air source heat pumps need a backup heat source?
yes, they do in Manitoba. You can use either an electric or a natural gas source as backup heating. If you use electric, you can save up to 30% off of your electric heating bills. And if you use natural gas, you can minimize your usage of fossil fuels.
Hey Bailey,
Hey,
can air source heat pumps work in Manitoba winters?
yes, even in the winter, there's still heat energy in the air, even if it doesn't feel like it. Cold climate air source heat pumps can operate in temperatures as low as minus 25 degrees Celsius, but when the temperature drops below the unit's cutoff point, your backup heating source will turn on.
Now on the next slide, we have the other heat pump option. Oh, solar rebate got snuck in there. Can you go to the next one, please? So ground source heat pumps are the other alternative. Anyone have one of these? Anyone interested in a ground source heat pump? Pardon? They are expensive. So air source heat pumps tend to be the ones that get installed a little bit more because this takes a lot more effort. Otherwise known as geothermal, I think is a more common name. And there's a few different ways that they can work, whether they're kind of laid out this way or kind of more vertical. There's some different options for ground source heat pumps. They are more expensive and the rebates are a bit more. But yeah, they're very efficient and they do eventually reduce your heating costs by up to 60%. So this is one of those things that it's worth the long-term investment, but you have to be ready to invest sooner rather than later. But again, you can get a loan that will cover this. Yes? That's such a good point. When it's colder, they will still work. In fact, they work great. They are using the power of being in the earth, a safe little nesting place. So yeah, they work really well in the winter as well. That's a very good point. Yes?
The other thing is that I think what we really need to do with geothermal is it needs to be a community project.
Oh yeah, I love that.
We need to be putting them in our alleyways so that we have neighborhoods that are hooked up. And then the price goes quite a bit down per person or per family.
That's such a good point. Yeah, our communal effort rather than each spending a lot of money on creating a little system ourselves. We can be like doing this as a community, building underneath our roads, like utilizing different spaces that we have that we don't use as much as we could, right? So
Yards, yards, all kinds of places.
exactly. There's so much opportunity for this. And I definitely agree with that. I think that as governments and kind of community becomes more aware of the things that we can easily do, as opposed to the things that are seen as really difficult, then the more of this we can do with a collective effort. Right now, even with solar panels as well, right? A lot is put on the individual to do a lot of purchasing, when if we all did it on a grid together, all the costs would be lowered. So future planning, yeah.
We need to work with developers so that new developments all have the option of being connected to a ground source heat pump.
I agree.
There are some places like Selkirk that are looking at some new development areas, and this is exactly what they're looking at.
That's awesome.
So they would, there's various ways that could work. It could be the city owns the heat pump, the ground source heat pump, and then just people pay into that for their energy costs, or it could be owned by a cooperative.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different options, and but Selkirk is actively looking at that.
Yeah, Selkirk is great for that. They've been doing a lot of awesome work, and even just having like a bit more regulation and understanding of kind of doing that as a community, I think is really helpful. And it's a good sign that like this role with the City of Brandon and Efficiency Manitoba are starting to kind of like have similar priorities and get on the same page in that way. Can we go back to the solar panel one? Yeah, speaking of which, I mean, this is something that I think is becoming slowly more commonplace in Brandon with solar panels as well. But yes, there is some rebate up to $5,000 per home. And so it just depends how much you're doing. You know, it's one thing that can be challenging with these programs when trying to kind of describe what the options are is that it will be different for every house, depending on who your contractor is or what the product is. And so it makes it difficult to kind of give exact numbers. But I mean, the benefits are huge with solar panels, but they are definitely, I would say, the highest level of investment. But also the highest level of return, because you can literally make money from your solar panels giving back to the grid and then getting money back. I think that most, if not all, solar systems have to be plugged into the grid, or at least you have to be to get the rebate for sure. Unless you're maybe out in the middle of nowhere with no electricity and, you know, kind of got a cool setup going with your own solar panel. But yeah, if you're wanting the rebate, it does get connected to the energy grid. Yes, so the rebate is calculated as being the lesser of three options based on, oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The average cost for residential solar panel installation in Manitoba ranges from 15 grand to 30 grand. Madeline, you have solar, do you not? And just a few panels, right?
Yeah, we have as many panels as we could fit on our roof.
And how many is that?
Because that's one of the issues that you have too, is if you don't have a south-facing roof site, then you know that makes a difference. And Brent and Ray also have a solar array.
And so, just out of curiosity, how many do you have?
I don't remember.
Okay, how many do you guys have?
You're asking the wrong person.
We have 8. I guess the thing that I would say is every house is indeed different, and you have to really consider home. And when you get a contractor and they're going to take a gizmo up and they're going to measure everything and they're going to tell you. In our application, in hindsight, I think my opinion would have been to go with a heat pump. It's also She likes the technology. But the other thing I would say related to the price of electricity in Manitoba is very, very low relative to most of the world.
That's right.
So when you go to Northern European countries, you see an incredible penetration of solar, because if you're paying 4 times the price for electricity, and that's roughly what it is in the Northern European countries, it's great incentive to get solar panels. We don't have that. And then secondly, if you're wanting to save on fossil fuels, the heat pump is using clean electricity. And we're replacing with a solar panel, you're actually replacing clean energy as well, because in Manitoba, it's hydro.
It's a very good point. The dream is the solar panel and the heat pump, and then your home is being heated by the power of the sun, like Madeline has. It's the dream. I'm slowly working toward it myself. But yes, solar is just such an amazing energy source, but it is expensive. So that's when you can also get some of the loans as well that you're paying off slowly. You don't have to put all the money into it right away with a good loan, and the interest is very low. Okay, I'm gonna go through the last couple slides more quickly because I wanna make sure that we're keeping up our time. But yes, home energy retrofits. So basically this is an option where if you're wanting to do a large renovation, you're wanting to do the envelope, you're wanting to install a new heating system, do quite a few things. You can apply to this, and this does, you do have to get an energy audit for this program, but then you can get $10,000 as a rebate and more, just because they're acknowledging that like energy transformation. And this in particular might be something if you're looking to passive homes. So that's where, 100% of the energy stays within, or a lot, quite a bit, up to 100% is kind of staying within the structure. And so the passive home would be, if you're wanting to change to a passive home kind of idea, this would be a rebate for you. Or even if you're just thinking about doing a few things at the same time and you are looking for a rebate. All right, let's move to the next one. So there is a lot of money available for things like businesses and building new homes. That is just to address the fact that we want our new homes to be energy efficient from the get-go, so we don't have to be doing a lot of renovations. So there are a lot of different options for if you're building homes or other buildings. I'm not going to get too into it because I don't think any of us are big home builders. If you are, come talk to me after and I can tell you about some of those rebates that are available. And then, yes, so next slide, we have income-based programs. So just to kind of give some ideas for, next slide, please. So yes, it's income qualifying program that assists low to moderate income homeowners and tenants with energy efficient upgrades. If you're a tenant, you might think like, how does that work? So if you're wanting work to be done in the suite that you live in, it actually, the low income aspect is based on your income as a renter. So you can go to your landlord and say, hey, I actually am qualified as low income, and you could get this extra insulation added, and you could get new fixtures, low flush and low flow appliances, and they might be really grateful to know that you could do that. It still is under your name as the low income person. So it could be a little collaboration with the building owner where you're living. All right, next. Let's just play this real quick. Just back one. And this is just a quick video. No worries.
Hey Justin, do you have a minute? I have some questions about the Energy Efficiency Assistance Program.
You bet, happy to help.
What is the Energy Efficiency Assistance Program?
So the Energy Efficiency Assistance Program offers free and subsidized energy efficiency upgrades for households across Manitoba. This can include a free home energy checkup, free energy saving devices such as low flow shower heads and LED light bulbs, free insulation upgrades, a subsidized high efficiency natural gas furnace, and a rebate towards a high efficiency boiler.
Who can participate in the program?
So both homeowners and renters can participate in this program. If you are a renter, your landlord would need to be the one that submits the application, but eligibility would be based on the household income of whoever's living at the property. As this is an income-based program, you do need to fall within the income thresholds that are available on our website in order to be eligible.
What if I'm unable to provide my income tax documents?
If you're not able to provide your income tax documentation, we do accept alternate forms of income verification, such as if you could provide employment and income assistance documentation or proof that you've recently participated in another program where you've had to income qualify. The full list of those alternative documents that we accept is available on our website.
How do I arrange a home energy checkup or find out which upgrades I'm eligible for?
So you can go on our website at efficiencymb.ca/EEAP to see if you qualify and fill out an application online. If you are approved, one of our energy advisors would contact you to schedule a home energy checkup. At that home energy checkup, they would provide you with those free energy saving devices, as well as check your existing insulation and heating system to see if it's eligible for upgrades.
Is a down payment required?
So Efficiency Manitoba will pay your insulation or furnace contractor directly for the full cost of the upgrade, so there is no down payment required. If you do receive a heating system upgrade, there would be a small interest-free loan added to your Manitoba Hydro energy bill. And if you are receiving a boiler upgrade, you would pay for the boiler up front and receive a rebate through our program.
Cool, thanks so much, Justin.
No problem.
Learn more about our Energy Efficiency Assistance Program and find out if you're eligible at efficiencymb.ca/EEAP.
So yes, this program is pretty great. It does give you a free energy audit. And also you have these, free insulation, free energy saving devices. And if you are looking for that natural gas furnace upgrade, it's quite inexpensive within this program. So there are quite a few options. Next, please. This gives you an idea that it's based on the number of people and the total income. And if you are living with kids, they count. And so especially for families where you might have a few people in your home, then it actually makes the kind of total income a lot easier to meet for low income or medium income. Just wanted to put that out there because that's one thing that people usually ask about this program. But yeah, so the eligibility is online. Efficiency Manitoba website has a lot of information. But if you ever want to know more, of course, you can always reach out to me or reach out. There's always a contact at the bottom of each web page for each program, and an expert in that area will get back to you really quickly. I've always been impressed at how quickly they do get back, because when you see that email, you go, oh, am I ever going to hear from this person? No, Efficiency Manitoba is really good at getting back. All right, next slide, please. Yes, so you would see if your income qualifies, get that energy checkup, and do the registered. If you need a registered contractor, you do that, and then you can get the work done. All right, so this one I'm going to go through very quickly because it is almost identical to the low income offer. So yes, for Red River Métis citizens, a lot of the same kind of rebates apply. So next. And next again. So yes, pretty much all the same stuff, except that you can actually get a free natural gas furnace upgrade. Efficiency Manitoba works with Manitoba Métis Federation for kind of enhanced energy efficiency rebates. All right, next. And same thing, that's how you participate. Next. The Indigenous programs largely are based in community. So for an individual who's Indigenous and lives on reserve, then these programs are for you. And then if you are an Indigenous business owner, it doesn't just have to be specific to on reserve. It can be you're an Indigenous business owner anywhere. All right, so let's go to the first one, First Nations small business. There are quite good rebates available if you are an Indigenous business owner. So feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with the right person if you are that person who is interested in this. And then commercial programs are kind of the small business program has really great benefits. You do get that free audit as well if you have a small business. And to the next slide, you have a lot of free upgrades for any small business in Manitoba. So that's, LED bulbs, kitchen faucet aerators, bathroom aerators, rinse valves, shower heads, quite a lot that is free of charge. And then if you're wanting to kind of have some upgrades, Efficiency Manitoba will cover 70%, which is huge. So if you know any small businesses that are interested in reducing their energy bills, which I think a lot are, if they can find the time to do this, know that it isn't difficult. You can apply and someone will come to do your audit. You can get all this free stuff and then decide if you want to upgrade as well. Next is the in-suite energy efficiency program. So that's what we've been talking about with the kind of the landlord and tenant situation. So the owners or property managers are able to do kind of upgrades for the entire building and get a lot more of a discount for that. So next slide. Again, there's the 2 levels. So you have all the free stuff that you can get, which is quite a lot. And then upgrades as well. So if you're living in a building and you would love to see some energy efficient upgrades because it does affect your bottom line, I would recommend kind of bring this to your landlord's attention. And next just has some information about supplier networks. So essentially just, we make sure that we're working with people who are Efficiency Manitoba certified. We're making sure that they have a knowledge and that they're doing the work correctly. And we have all the information about the suppliers for different programs that you need. It is all on the website. And the next slide is just, saying that there's benefits when you join the network just because then your name is getting out there with the list of all the other suppliers. And that is all the big information that I have for you. It's a lot. There's a lot of detail, and we have not even touched on any of the kind of commercial programs or industrial programs or there's even programs where you can, if you have an idea of something that you think is energy efficient, you can pitch it to them. So yeah, there's a lot out there and there's a lot available. I know we're just at the end of our time. But if there are any big questions, maybe we could do just a quick few, but I'm also happy to give out my contact, and I would love to have a one-on-one contact with you and point you in the right direction if you do have any specific questions. Anyone have any burning questions that they need to ask right now? Well, look at that. You guys, I answered all your questions already.
So I'd just like to say thank you, Ingrid, and if we could all give Ingrid a little bit of appreciation.
Yeah, thank you all for your participation. I really appreciate all the questions and the involvement. It's so interesting and there's so many facets to it. So yeah, I really appreciate all the questions and it's great to be here.
I just want to add one small, maybe big thought. We've been talking a lot about the price of things, how much things cost. And of course, this is all about rebates and how much you can get help in the things that cost. So that's partly why. But I just want to remind you that we need to remember that there's a cost to having clean air, and there's a cost to having clean water. There's a cost to having wetlands and forests and green spaces, prairies and all the beautiful ecosystems and all the critters that are living in those ecosystems. And sometimes we might need to just say, this is worth it because this will save something. So just keep that in mind. We put up solar panels, and no, we won't probably see the profit from that, but we thought we wanted to do that because we knew it was the right thing to do, and sometimes just doing it because it's the right thing is good enough. So thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it. Ingrid will be around for a little. Oh wait, Craig has something.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Craig. Yes, it will be on the Knox YouTube channel. It will be uploaded probably by tomorrow. And so you can access it. You go to the website and look up Green Team, and it'll be there under the Green Team stuff. So yes, let everybody know, anybody who you think who might be interested or need to know more. And of course, you can always give them Ingrid's name as well.
That's right, and I'm happy to do more presentations. That is just a big part of my role. So if there is an organization that you work with or any kind of group that might benefit from a presentation like this, I'd be happy to facilitate that, no matter where you might be in Manitoba, or kind of depending on what you're looking for. If you work with a certain type of organization that is looking for a certain type of presentation, I'm more than happy to do this. You guys are the first presentation I've done, so thank you so much for being my guinea pigs. I appreciate your attention and your participation so much. So yeah, thank you.
So a reminder that there are more brochures and whatnot at the back there, and we are going to have a sustainable Brandon meeting. I'm hoping that it'll be 10 or 15 minutes, just kind of go through some of the things that we're working on or need to do, and everybody is welcome, but you don't have to stay either. Okay, so thank you very much for coming.